Good morning. Lovely day here in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. It's a nice cool day here at my sewing room. We've got air conditioning. Having a heat wave, a tropical heat wave. That'd be way better if Sandy was here, I could tell you. Well, so what are we going to do today? Well, we're going to talk about a few things. Won't keep you too long. It might be the start of your long weekend, and our long weekend announcement is we're open Monday. So if you want to shop on Monday, we're not closed. It's not a stat holiday. So we will be here and we're hoping you'll attend. We are also going to offer Monday as a open sew day. So social sewing, if you want to grab someone and come sit in our air-conditioned comfort, we would be happy to have you. It would be a good weekend to stay in and sew. Unless, of course, you have air conditioning in your sewing room. I, for one, do not. So, hopefully we'll see a bunch of you on Monday, because that would be fun. Now, hi, Ruth. It's nice to see you. Chat bar is a bit far from my old eyes. Let's put it over here. Ooh, hi, Anne. It's nice to see you too. Well, okay, so let me grab my note here. I have some questions, and I thought we might do a little Ask Anne questions today. And I thought they were quite timely. One of the questions was, if I'm working on a flannel quilt, and that's from Loanne. Thank you, Loanne. Appreciate that. Flannel quilts. Okay, well, quite commonly, flannel quilts have been rag quilts, and they get really heavy because there's so much extra seam allowance, and quite often they're made out of denim, but flannel's really popular because these cuts here do a lovely bloom and get all fuzzy and cozy for, when it does cool down, and it will. And we would advocate for fill of either batting squares, but the batting is small and just hidden inside here, and it doesn't go up into these seam allowances. So if you had a 8-inch square of flannel, you would only have a 6-inch square of batting, so that you could cut and rag those 1-inch seam allowances. And this is a great place to hide other flannel that maybe you bought and you don't adore anymore. Or you could do this in 3 layers of flannel and have even more bloom on the edge. So that's a little bit where flannel as a 3rd layer is quite useful. Rag quilts, one of them. Typically rag quilts, I wouldn't call them a summer quilt. That was the other question, which was what might signify a summer quilt? Well, I can tell you from my sleeping experience, something you don't feel like you're strangling under in the summer. So 2 layers of flannel, maybe 2 of them are the plaid, maybe you're using plaid and gray. You could put a 3rd layer in there. So that's what we're talking about there, or batting. Now, I have this lovely sample, and I'm not sure how well it will show on screen, but we all have an idea, if we're sewers, how thick or thin your flannel layer would be. Let me see if I can bring this up for you. So we carry Quilter Stream cotton which we adore. It's a fabulous, fabulous batting. Doesn't shrink. There's nothing unusual in there. There's no scrim, no resin, no binders. And you can have a quilting area of up to 8 inches of opening, which is huge in 100% cotton batting. That doesn't have any of those scrim resins or binders in there. Now, what does that mean for you? Well, I'm hoping maybe if I hold that just right in the camera, you'll be able to see there are 4 different weights there. When you've got it in hand, quite obvious. And what I can tell you is the most popular one is this second weight. Then the heaviest weight here is the one that we used in a previous video on our YouTube channel for making a dish drying mat, because there's a lot of cotton there to absorb moisture from your dishes. So you can see the weights. So in my opinion, and this is just an opinion because, you know, perhaps I'm an expert in my field, perhaps not. Now, this first weight is very thin, very light, and if I was making a traditional quilt, 3 layers, batting in the middle, to give it just a wee bit of loft so that perhaps you could see the quilting, that would be a weight that I would choose. We carry the second weight here at my sewing room in every single size and by the meter. Prepackaged and by the meter, nicely enough in Dream Cotton, is within pennies of each other for price. So there is no saved value in buying a prepackaged cut piece over buying by the meter. The only benefit is if you have an unusual size, you might have more or less cut off if you bought it pre-cut. Could you use those pieces? Sure, we use them for all sorts of interesting things. And right now we've had a charity request for emergency pet rescue. So if you have any larger pieces of batting, 12 inches, 18 inches, I know where you can donate them. And if you happen to be dropping by and you have a bag of cutoffs that you think they could use, they must be 100% cotton. You can bring them here labeled for pet rescue. And I'd be happy to facilitate moving those on to the volunteers who are trying to help take care of the animals that are being fostered and cared for all of those people being displaced by our current fire situation. So there's that. If you like a heavy quilt, well, this heaviest weight would be lovely. Now, cost-wise, of course, each one of these layers, the thinnest one, of course, is the lighter, less expensive one. And then each weight goes up because, of course, there's more cotton in there. But little tricks. If you like a heavy quilt, we are happy to order any of these weights in special for you. And we carry a little bit in white, but you can see the white. This is such a clean batting that it's not beige really. It's a very just off white. But if you need a white, we do carry a little bit of that in stock, but also happy to custom order a weight or a size for you. But 2 of the second heaviest would equal 1 of the heaviest. So you can layer batting, and nicely, if you took 2 pieces of batting and put them together, and you just hand press them together, they stick nicely to each other. They're not going to wiggle and shift around. So if you want more weight in your quilts, and some people do like heavier quilts, then you can double up your batting. Or if you'd prefer not to, you can go with the single heavier weight. The names are Request, Select, Deluxe, and Supreme. So, summer quilt, in my opinion, is a traditional quilt, 3 layers, but of the lightest layer of batting, or you can absolutely put a layer of flannel in there. Maybe you bought this plaid and now it's not your friend, and maybe the fabric that you're using to quilt with would hide the fact that you have a plaid layer in the middle. Because certain fabrics, of course, would hide that. Or if you have a bunch of solid in a funky color and that's not the thing you're gonna do anymore, you could put that in between your layers of cotton. And then you would have the thinnest traditional 3-layered quilt. And then that would also be considered, in my opinion, a summer quilt. So the lightest of batting, or a 3rd layer, which is just flannel. Because if we head back into our roots, what was happening there? Well, traditional quilts, if you have a vintage quilt, an antique quilt, and it's popped open in a place or has worn away, and you get looking in them, sometimes what we see in there is old blankets, old quilts, old coats, remnants of other things pieced together to make that batting layer. It's not batting, but of course it's the 3rd layer. So quilting traditionally is 3 layers of stuff stitched together. So that's what we would call quilting. 3 things layered and stitched. Now the other interesting question, and I love this question, I get it a lot. 505. How do I get that off my stuff? Well, 505 is water soluble. So you can wash it off with just simply warm water, a little bit of dish soap. I wouldn't use a harsh cleaning agent. But if you have a nice light dish detergent, something along those lines, I wouldn't use any heavy chemical cleaners. There is a chemical cleaner out there. It's a spray to take your gook off of things, but it's not necessary for 505. Soap and water, however, on a mat or on your hoops, well, you have to have a little elbow grease. And of course, don't use a harsh brush. I sometimes use, if you need to get in nooks and crannies on your hoop, you can use a soft bristle toothbrush, because that little thing get into the nooks and crannies. Now, I get goop on my hoops all the time because I do spray my fabric to my stabilizer sometimes. Sometimes I'll do a little spritz in the middle of my hoop to tack something in there. And I actually don't mind the muck on my hoop. But when I bring them out in public, I tend to give them a little clean. But I'll tell you what my go-to thing is dollar store baby wipes with no perfume. I believe baby wipes have perhaps a little mineral oil in them. Sometimes they have a little alcohol, sometimes they don't. But I think Something with a little bit of that oily in it removes sticky quite nicely. Even, you know, when you get sticky in your kitchen, stickers on new glassware, kids get gum in their hair, using something slippery like butter, margarine, cooking oil has often been used to get that out. But of course, then if you've got that on your mat or your hoop, you now have to clean the cleaner off. So my secret weapon, dollar store baby wipes, easy to come by, not too expensive. Chances are I wouldn't use dollar store baby wipes on a baby. Just saying. But as a cleaning agent in my sewing room, I have used them a lot. I also use them to clean off my scan and cut mats. And it's interesting, but wiping them down and getting all the linty bits off reinvigorates the sticky. It doesn't actually remove the sticky off of my scan and cut mats, but it will remove 505 off of your hoops and mats and anywhere that you might have inadvertently got sticky with the based spray. Got a live question. Anne's asking if I know anywhere that takes fabric scraps for pet beds. I do not, but if anyone sees this video and would like me to facilitate a swap, then I can certainly reach out to Anne and ask her to bring them in and let you know they're here and you can pick them up. I would offer to hold them here for you, but the last time I did that, we almost drowned in bags of fabric scraps. So until I have a swap point, I will ask you to store those yourself, but I would happy to be facilitator and get things from one person to the next person. Hi, Tina. I wonder if I ever told you that Tina is my sister's name, short for Christina. Well, if there aren't any live questions that I could facilitate, that would be the short and sweet Friday of a long weekend Ask Anne, or we labeled this one with Anne because depends on whether questions come in or not, whether I have something sensible to respond to. And I liked those questions because we get them all the time. And I just wanted to help. I believe it was Wendy that sent in the 505 question. Let me take a look at that. Because, yeah, Wendy. Good question, Wendy. And thank you, Loanne, for sending yours in. Oh, some other notes, just so you know. I'm finished my canary challenge. So as some of you might know from our recent videos, the Wonderful block a month, I was challenged to do what has been developed as a hand embroidery stitched quilt by machine. And I'm loving that challenge. And so I've got my canary block done. And each time that I have the same stitch in a new bird, I might not repeat what I taught in the last bird. So there's going to be a lovely set of techniques and things. And I am going to make 2 quilts by machine. One of them I'm making on the Brother Luminaire, and my second machine quilt, because I've started on the Luminaire, I'm also going to create one on my Bernina 880 or 790. I have 790 here at work. I'm not sure I want to drag my 880 up to work. And knowing that we have a new 990, some of the features on the 790 Pro are going to appear in the 990. So it might behoove me to just go with the 790. So for Bernina owners, You'll enjoy the Bernina specific tips and tricks, and the brother owners, you're going to enjoy what I have to share about working on the brother. You don't have to have top end of either line to benefit from the class. We're filming that now. We're going to start editing our classes, and the bonus is Bernadette from Wonderful, formerly of Traditional Pastimes, a lot of you might know her, is working through and filming by hand. So if you would enjoy either of those, do join us. All of the classes are going to be free to you on our YouTube channel, so do go in there and subscribe so that you don't miss the launches and the announcements when the classes hit there. And in my opinion, neither by hand by machine is the perfect solution. The perfect solution is those stitches that are just simple and pleasant to do by hand should be done by hand, and then the things that might be more efficient and equally lovely done on your machine. So the perfect quilt in my head is a combo of both, because I know some people are all out if you do it by hand, some people are all out if you do it by machine, and I'm sensitive to that. I would love to do nothing but sit in my backyard, listen to the birds, enjoy the breeze and the sunshine, and hand stitch a quilt. However, that is not currently the lifestyle I enjoy, so a combination would make me happiest. I'm well started on the hummingbird, which uses a simple blanket stitch, which I can make look like I've done it by hand and turn the corners and things the way someone who was doing hand stitching would. But of course, it's a little faster. But there on this wing is some beautiful freestyle embroidery, and the challenge on the machine is a bit of a thing for me right now. So stay tuned. The struggle is real. Oh, Judy, good morning. How do you store your embroidery hoops, flat or hanging? Wherever you have room. Honest to Pete, wherever you have room. I have the large luminaire hoop. It's too big for the drawer that I store my hoops in at home. And so that one hangs in my sewing room because that's where I have space for it. And all the others, I have a large sewing cabinet that has a huge drawer on the bottom, and all my hoops are in there. Are they flat? No, not really. They're kind of all over, depending on how they land in there. Unless there's weight and force on them, I don't believe that like another hoop on a hoop is going to cause any permanent damage or warping. And then I'm in and out of that drawer so much, there's no pressure that would warp a hoop. If you have room to hang them and it's convenient for you, I think hanging is quite a sensible solution. It's the mats. Mats should be stored flat. So they shouldn't be resting on their sides. If you stand it up straight on the floor, it will soon curl, and that's really hard to get out of a mat later. The curl can become permanent, and then they're not as lovely to cut on. And if you have two bull clips or one big one, you can hang your mat because that's still flat. If you have hooks on the wall, or you happen to have pegboard and you can move pegs around, hanging a mat's perfectly legit. But storing it on its own edge, it can warp, and that becomes a real nuisance in cutting. Vivian's saying she used packing tape to remove 505 overspray from my fabric. Um, if it's not a current inconvenience, if you have 505 on overspray on fabric, just leave it out and exposed to air. The tacky evaporates away and you don't really have to do anything about overspray on fabric. But do not encase the 505 because it stays sticky longer. But if it's open and exposed to air, the sticky evaporates. And it also the first time you wash that fabric, all residue will be gone. That's the joy of some of the spray base that we have. And that evaporation and the fact that it's water soluble makes it easy to use. But I do get, sometimes things get a little gunky and you need to clean them. But yeah. Well, I will pause for just a second to see if any more live questions come in, because, you know, use it or lose it. I like to learn new things. I like to challenge myself because, you know, you got to keep that gray matter working. Well, I hope you all have a fabulous weekend, given that we're filming this on Friday. If you'd like to see more of us, as I said, please go in and subscribe to our YouTube channel, which is mysewingroom.dotca. And we'd love to see you there. We have on our website the ability to sign up for our newsletter if you're not there. That www.mysewingroom.ca. Now, if you are already receiving the newsletter, for those of you who are embroidering, we've got a poll there. We have the opportunity to have a new Hoop Sister quilt program, but we'd like to know how you feel about it before we dive in. If you all love it, then I love it, then we'll present it. If you're like, meh, it's a hard pass for me, then that could be a hard pass for us, and we'll focus on something different. We're here to inspire you, support you. I'm super excited. What I'll be doing this weekend, I'll share with you before I wander away. Hi, Wendy. Well, I did answer your question. So when we're offline, wait a couple minutes and you'll be able to see the answers to your questions. And thanks for sending those in. This weekend at home, I'm super stoked because I'm working on August, September, October, November samples for the store to go with the traditional OESD holiday releases. And if you've never done that before, I'll let you in on what that looks like. September, October, November, OESD releases holiday designs, and they're free to you with a $59 purchase this year. OESD and us, while we're being sensitive to the fact that the economy is a little wackadoodle. And so when you buy $59 worth of OESD product, which includes stabilizer, Isocore thread, the OESD tools, so many different things, you'll get the design for free. The one in September is Christmas cards. The one in October is ornaments. They are adorable. And November is designs that coordinate with the cards and with the ornaments, but you're able to use them in many, many places, and we'll have some samples to share with you as we go along. So that's what I get to make. I'm almost finished the Haunted House, new addition to the Haunted Village. I'm almost finished the flower shop for the tone on tone white village, which can also be done in color. We have all of them for years past. My mom used to make them before she passed, so it's a bit bittersweet every time I make one without her. But I do love the villages, and there is also the Candy Village, which is based on gingerbread houses. This year it's not a gingerbread house, it's a three-dimensional carousel in the round. It's gonna be so cool. I'm really looking forward to doing that. And if you want to add that piece to your Christmas village, you just create a tone on tone white. Or if you did color in your village, the carousel will slide right into your village. So the three new structures I'm pretty excited about. Releasing in August is a new version of the standalone pumpkin. So typically the pumpkins were round but went off up into their stem. This year the pumpkins are round and go down in like an actual pumpkin. So we'll share that with you next week because I have just a little bit of homework to do. And, you know, it's cooler inside than outside this weekend. So I have a full weekend of stitching planned. So, signing off. Have a great long weekend if you get one. We're open Monday. We hope to see you there. Yeah, and thank you for being here. Appreciate all of you. And yeah, the more stuff's leaking as we speak about the new Brother EV1, the Avenir. And yeah, I'm super excited for this fall. I hope you are too. We'll see you soon. Bye for now.